Welcome everybody to the Chess Lab. Welcome to round 3 of the tournament I'm playing. Today I faced a player rated 1787. I'm rated 1957, so you know, club players against club player. I'm the favorite on paper, at least. That's the usual stuff. Let's go. I have the score sheet as usual. And let's go. So, knight f3 is the first time that I look at it with the engine. I don't have the engine open at the time being. In critical moments, I'll have a little bit of a think of my thought process and stuff like that, and then I'll activate the engine if needed. So knight f3, d5, g3, knight to f6, bishop to g2. This is all standard theory. c6. So this is the second time in this tournament that I play with the white pieces, and I play always knight to f3, and my opponent is playing exactly what the opponent of the first round did. Here I castle, and here there are a couple of moves in Nate Solon's course, which are bishop f5 and bishop to g4. My opponent played bishop to g4. Now, you're probably thinking, wow, so you were very happy because this is theory, this you know what to do. The problem is I forgot. You need to understand. I'm focusing on the openings at the moment. I want to have my small yet reliable repertoire, okay, to have a solid base, so I can't lose out of the opening because of some traps, okay, that's it. And then I want to focus finally, after years and years and years that I say this, on middle game, end game, planning, strategy, all these things. Bon appetit, by the way. Buon appetito! Okay, I don't talk like this, but I have to pretend. So, here's the thing. I'm studying three main things. One, the opening from white perspective, which is one knight f3. Two, can you see my fingers? It doesn't matter. Two, I'm studying what to do against one e4, and three, I'm studying what to do against one d4 and sidelines. The course against one d4 for the black side is Nate Solon Semislav 100 repertoire, and that's what I'm focusing on at the moment. You know, is that's my focus. So it has been a while since I reviewed those lines, the bishop g4 line, and I couldn't remember. Now, because I face it online literally all the time, I kind of know what to do against bishop f5. You go c4. They do, let's say, e6, you go queen b3, and here they can play whatever, but the main move is queen b6, then you play d3, trying to go here, and there was a game where my opponent played h6, if I'm not mistaken, or h5, and coincidentally, I later watched a video of Title Tuesday, they also played it against Carlsen, and Carlsen ended up not having a great position. Of course he won because he's Carlsen, but... Okay, bishop g4. The reason I mentioned the line, this is the game with bishop g4, is because first of all I played h3, which I have no idea if it's correct or not. I should probably check with the course, but I don't have time. I'm gonna do it one day. Bishop h4, and here c4. Here c4, my opponent played d6. You can consider taking, but then I play knight a3. The only reasonable way to defend the pawn is with b5, but after a move like knight to f5, for example, but even other moves, you know, this is collapsing. For example, I don't know, take this, and this is just collapsing. It may not be a good variation of what I just showed you, but in general, even something like b3, you know, and if they take, you move out, you have ideas of attacking this guy, you have idea of just playing d4 and then knight e5, which now will make the whole thing collapse, develop the bishop where you more prefer, and the whole queens is gonna collapse for them, so it kind of resembles the bank, but not really. So e6, and here I played queen b3, so I'm kind of, you know, mixing together the ideas. I'm not saying that what I played is wrong, but you know. Okay, let's see. Let's also look at the database. So, c6, castle, bishop g4, h3 is not really that much played, but is not hated by the engine. Bishop h5 is fine. Now c4 is correct. e6, and here queen b3 is a move. It's just around equal. It's just around equal. Queen b3. My opponent played queen c7, which is not ideal. Is not ideal. And here I thought about playing d4, because this kind of all of a sudden resembles the game that I played yesterday. You know, if I play d4, they can't play e5 because queen c7 also prepares e5 perhaps. But instead of d4, if I'm not mistaken, I played d3. Yeah, I played d3. And my idea was kind of crazy. Let's bring it as main move. My idea behind d3 was kind of crazy. My point was to threaten bishop f4, but perhaps even playing bishop e3, which adds pressure onto the queen side, which is typical in this opening. Bishop e3 is not a crazy move. If you have been following my Road to 2500 Lichess Rapid series, there was a game specifically where the best move was bishop e3. There was a position, which is a theoretical position, and then my opponent made a new move, and I had to decide between h3 and bishop e3. And on bishop e3 I was afraid of knight g4, but knight g4 was just a waste of time. And so I played h3, but I could have played bishop e3 immediately. But this is like ancient time, ancient history. And, okay, d3. My idea was on e5 to just take, counting on the fact that the queen is overwhelmed. And this is an idea that actually, this is gonna be such a nerdy session. This is an idea that I got from this line. d4, d5, c4, c6, doesn't really matter which knight. And here bishop g4, here you take, and here a4. And here bishop to b4, if I'm not mistaken. Here pawn here, boom boom here, and here queen c2, defends the pawn, but now you take anyways. This is a line in Nate Solon's course, believe it or not. The bishop has to go back, and the point is, you're doing this craziness, because if the queen takes, there is a fork, right? So as you can see, studying multiple openings can help you with patterns. Here you have to take, they take like this, attacking this guy. You go here, they go here, you go back, and this is the end of Nate Solon's line. As you can see, I know these lines quite well, because that's what I'm studying at the moment. Okay. But this is our game. So again, here there is this, similar in a way. Take, take. I'm not sure if this is good. I thought that this was fine, but maybe I'm completely crazy. So let's see e5, what's going on here. +1. Oh, knight takes e5 is actually correct. Oh, let's go, man. Oh, let's go. Oh, let's go. Oh, here check even. What about rook e1? Rook e1 would have been +4. So my calculation was correct. Very, very, very nice. Very good sign. Very good sign. So e5 is wrong. e5 is a blunder. That was great that I found that. Holy. But bishop d6 now by my opponent. And now bishop to e3. And here I had a crazy idea. Bishop e3, just adding the pressure. My idea was now on e5 to push. The bishop goes back and then again taking. And after they take, and we are back to the grind. I want to check if this is true. c5 correct, bishop e7, and knight takes e5 again. And on queen takes, queen here. Bishop here. Well, here there are some more complications, but rook e1 is winning. Dude, I calculated correctly. This is crazy. This is so great. I worked 8 hours this morning, you know, woke up at 4, you know? So it's good that my brain is working despite everything. Okay, so bishop d6 was played by my opponent, and here you have to start to look at some sacrificing ideas here, which was a big theme of the early stages of the middle game here. Perhaps not even early stages, like the whole middle game. Knight bd7, and now I played rook c1. I'm not sure how good this is. Yeah, this is not that good. It's now minus 0.2, rook c1 is kind of a mistake. And my opponent played it correctly. My opponent took, so we're just going to go with their move. And here, yeah, it's irrelevant basically what you do. It's irrelevant. It's minus 0.2 or minus 0.3. I played rook takes e4. It's basically irrelevant. And here comes my opponent great idea. My opponent grandiose idea, bishop takes. And you may say, what's the point? The point is that I have to take with the e-pawn. And this is what I played. If I played bishop takes, there is knight to e5. And all of a sudden, this is hit, and it's not so clear. I may run into trouble. For example, rook c1, knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, here we go. And if I take, check, wherever I go doesn't really matter. Check. Let's say I start to run, they pick up this guy. So I can't do that, so I have to go here, but now they pick up this guy as well, I have to go here. Rook d8 perhaps, I'm just looking at the engine. So as you can see, it was very dangerous. And so I played e takes f3, okay? I would love to remove those arrows. I would love to remove those arrows. Okay, so e takes f3. Okay. Hopefully you guys are following, okay? So just to repeat, they took with the idea that if I take with the bishop, they enter here, eating the rook, and then they have time to take, and then sacrifice. So I played e takes f3, obviously. And now knight d5 anyways, by my opponent. Yeah, this is not good. To keep the advantage, my opponent should have played the knight to d5, but these were their ideas, it was very tempting, and that's what they did. I would love to not see. Okay, so you don't see the arrows, but I still see the analysis. And also just give me one line. I just want to see the evaluation. Okay, so you guys see nothing. Now I can see the evaluation and just one line of the engine. Okay, this is easier, in my opinion, for both of us to kind of do this analysis. So you don't get confused, but at the same time, I don't say complete garbage when it comes to analysis. So, okay. So knight d5 anyways, which is not correct. I played f4. No, there's no way I played f4. What? Sorry guys, I'm a little bit... What the... So bishop takes, pawn takes. Oh no, my opponent actually played it correct. My opponent played indeed knight d5. Okay, so black's better. This is my opponent playing. This is correct, knight d5, correct. And here I played f4. Now, what's the idea? Guys, question for you. It's important, otherwise you lose yourself in the analysis, because I understand I'm scattered all over the place. But please keep the focus. That's how a strong club player that is trying to reach candidate master level thinks. So it's important for you to understand. What's the idea here behind this move? The idea is to take. It's very simple, immediate threat. Take, take, take. This pawn is doing two jobs. Is defending this bishop, is defending this pawn. So the way I decided to solve it, which is also the best move according to the engine, is f4. The point being that if they take, which they didn't do, but if they do, I take back. And it's funny because the engine doesn't like this for white. After knight b6 and rook to c2, you don't want to go all the way back because after you develop the knight, you already have the doublings. So you kind of win a tempo in a way. Yeah, you don't lose a tempo. But after rook g8, of course, engine sorcery is here. Knight c3, g5, which is a move that my opponent later played. The engine is arguing that this structure can be undermined. Minus 0.4 according to the engine. Minus 0.5 on depth 24, stockfish 17. Again, it means what it means humanly speaking, but that's what it is. But after f4, my opponent didn't take, so let me remove this line. After f4, my opponent didn't take, my opponent played this move g5. So he kind of got the spirit, he just kind of messed it up in the order, okay? And it's funny because I saw this move for a fraction of a second, And I'm like, there's no way that works. I saw a couple of things that I could do, and I'm like, yeah, let's go. And he played it. The problem is, when your opponent plays something that you're like, yeah, this doesn't work, it forces you to prove it, that it doesn't work. And I was correct, this doesn't work. This is a practical attempt. I think that even my opponent perhaps knows that objectively doesn't work, but it's a very good practical attempt. It just confuses the waters, and if you're playing somebody that is a little bit sleepy, is not sharp, even higher rated, you crush them. So props to my opponent to go for this. However, in these specific positions, I have a couple of things that I can try. So first of all, I can solve all of my issues with one move. My issues are, this g takes f4 comes with tempo on the bishop, so I don't have time to close the king side with something like g4, which can be useful in some lines. The bishop is hit, and if I save the bishop, they just take, and it's catastrophic. However, I can save my bishop, move it away from here, prevent this to come with tempo, all in one move, which is the move bishop to d4. And this is the best move. I don't know if there are other moves. I'm going to check multiple lines now. Yeah, so if I play knight a3 is equal. If I play knight c3 is plus 0.4. Bishop to d4 is advantage, plus 1.3. Let me see actually more lines. Yeah, and the fourth move is bishop takes, which is minus 0.3. So one move is clearly better, the other two are equal, and the fourth is slightly worse for white. So I'm very proud that I managed to find the absolute best move. It's not impossible once you understand the logic of the position, but still, it's very nice. Bishop d4. My opponent played rook g8. Here the best move is castle, which is something that I didn't even consider it was legal. That's crazy. But okay, my opponent played rook g8. However, here there are some crazy tactics, and I am already looking at the engine, which spits out the best move, and I played it. So in this critical position here, after g5, I managed to play two moves in a row, which are the absolute best moves. This is very huge. This is amazing. And here I played f5. Here I just played f5. Let me double check, yes. Now, what's the idea behind f5? Well, first of all, in this position, they're threatening to just open it up. So you close it. Now, this knight is pinned. Sorry, this pawn is pinned. So this knight is only defended by this pawn. Meaning this pawn here can't just take my pawn. Because if they do, this of course wasn't played in the game, I just win the knight. They can't take because I win their queen. This is simple enough. However, this move here not only closes down the whole thing, not only is uncapturable, it also threatens to take on e6, which is not by itself material winning, but after f takes e6, this king all of a sudden feels tender. And if they long castle, I can play knight a3, which threatens already crazy forks, and also rook c1, and look at these bishops all of a sudden. Long castling is basically suicide. But what do you do? After f5, what do you do? Well, here there is a critical line that you have to look, which is the line e5. And also the fact that my opponent has so many moves available is a very good indication because they have to think. And my opponent was taking a lot of time to think. I also was taking a lot of time. It's a very complicated position. All these things that I'm telling to you with the help of the engine, they seem obvious, but they're quite difficult to figure out as a human, as a club player by yourself there. It's very difficult. So, you know. But here, you know, you go for this move saying you're not going to open up here. I'm going to take your bishop, opening up again. The problem is it fails. Because here you play bishop takes d5, and here they can't take. Now, the only thing they can do is to take, but this loses. And this loses to bishop takes f7. I'm looking at the engine, and I'm very happy to see that everything is correct. And I saw this. I saw this from the very distance. And the thing is, if you don't take, I'm just going to take the rook. Now, taking this rook is not just taking the exchange. It's also removing a very important attacker for the future, right? You may say, what if they take, sorry? If they take, there is this beautiful rook takes c6. Attacking the king and winning the queen. So beautiful. And by the way, in the end, everything collapses. This is something that I did not notice, but I just saw that I had a bunch of pawns, the queen is loose, and all these things. Amazing. Amazing. So they didn't play. My opponent was playing very well. My opponent played knight to b6. I just didn't highlight which knight. I'm sure it's this knight. It's knight 5 to b6. Let me write it down because I'm not gonna be able to remember it forever. I mean, there is this video. That's a good argument, but I still want to write it down. I don't have a pen. And this is never gonna work. I don't know why, but my pens never works. Okay, so move 15. Knight 5 to b6. Knight 5 to b6. Yeah, it works. It works in very well too. Okay. Okay. So the knight goes there, hitting the rook. Now, here I was considering, and here my advantage is starting to increase, plus 2.5. So I'm navigating these tactics a little bit better. And here, f takes c6 is the best move. I considered it for a long time. I ended up playing rook c2, if I'm not mistaken, on move 16. Yeah. Which is +1. The engine is probably going to say this is a mistake, but it gives a little bit of an advantage, humanly speaking, and also engine-wise. So I'm not going to be too harsh. However, to be super clinical, you should have played f takes c6. You should have played f takes c6. Now, I was not sure what happened after this. I saw e takes d7, queen takes d7, and queen takes c4. I couldn't evaluate this position. I'm like, I have the 2 pieces for the rook. I'm going to play knight c3, rook e1. I couldn't evaluate it. I couldn't understand it. It's plus 3.5. This is a skill issue. I don't understand endgames. I'm a noob. I'm an absolute noob, guys. You may look at me, rated 1957 FIDE, trying to get candidate master, playing over the board tournaments, defeating people, almost holding your own against a FIDE master. Dude, I'm an absolute noob. I don't say this for false humility or something. How can you not evaluate this position correctly? Like, I wasn't sure if it was better for me or for my opponent. But this position is not +1. Because if a guy tells you, oh, I didn't know if this was better for me or for my opponent, and his position is +1, you're like, okay, it's not super easy to evaluate because it's just +1. But this is plus 3.5. This is basically super winning. So not being able to evaluate this correctly is just crazy. It's just ridiculous. But I just couldn't. I just couldn't. So, skill issue. Okay, so I played rook c2, keeping a little bit of advantage, but just a little bit. So rook c2. Now my opponent played e takes f5, which I'm surprised to see is the best move. And here, I'm super happy I found the best move also. Now here there is a tactical team, which is, there are 2 tactical teams, 3. The first is the attack on the king. However, after king f8, believe it or not, the king is super safe. Like, you may want to check or something. Nah. There is a second tactical team, which is a knight jumping to b5. Knight b5, let's say, and this guy is pinned, and I'm hitting the dark square bishop. So the dark squares, which are quite crucial if you ask me, are now becoming tender. There is a third team, which is a crucial team, which is, let's say this knight's not here, you want a rook here, and then let's say that the rook is here, in this position, right? You want to play bishop takes. And after pawn takes, rook takes, is crashing. He's absolutely crashing. Let's say you go here, only move to defend the bishop. Well, here it doesn't work. But is a tactical possibility. Okay, so I play knight a3. And I'm threatening this. Now, the best move is rook g6, which, believe it or not, I am beyond shocked. Believe it or not, I saw rook g6 to defend here. Unbelievable. But my opponent didn't. He played a6. And now, if you remember, let's say that the rook is here, you play bishop takes, pawn takes, rook takes. Now it works because this knight falls. So after here, you just take here. And the knight falls. So here I played this. Now the engine is recommending bishop c3. Oh, to go here. Oh. But okay, I played rook c1. And this loses the advantage even more. It loses the advantage even more, however, just because of one move, I think. The engine can't load. Fantastic. Let's do 2. Yeah, because of one move. There is just one move that you have to find to survive, and is rook g6 again. You have to hold this line of play as much as you can, but my opponent didn't find it. On move 18, my opponent played bishop e5. This is a blunder. This is now +4. Unbelievable. And you may look at this and be like, how is it possible that a player almost 1800 FIDE over the board, he has a lot of time, how can he blunder? But because if you just look at the evaluation, the mere evaluation of the engine, and it goes from like +0.3 to +4, you don't appreciate the complexity of this position. This is truly, truly complicated. And in fact, the best move according to the engine, I'm looking at it right now, is not what I played. Now, I don't know if what I played is good. The best move according to the engine is rook e1. And after king f8, sacrificing the rook. And after knight takes, bishop takes. Okay, so you get the 2 pieces for the rook plus attack, because you get the bishop. Beautiful. But I didn't find it. I played this. And this is now +2.45. So it's still winning, technically, but I could have crushed him. Okay, now, here, funnily enough, they took with the knight, which is best. Oh, and now, after the best move, this is now +3.5 according to the engine. So no, okay. Bishop takes works fantastically as well. Now, if they take with the queen, I just trade. And you may say, what's the big deal? Well, simple chess. Just rook e2 or rook e1. I don't know if it makes any difference. I would have probably gone rook e1. Yeah. And you are just winning. And if they defend, you just win. d4 or something. And you just win a piece. It's as simple as that. And in the beginning, I thought, oh no, when I was here, in this position, I'm like, I take, oh, they take with the queen. But then I'm like, wait, keep calculating. I'm improving at the game. I would have stopped. Bro, you don't understand. In the past, guys, this is serious. In the past, you don't understand. After this and this, I would have stopped the calculation, which is unbelievable. It's unfathomable to think right now. Of course, you keep going, and now you look for forcing moves, and I saw this. Unbelievable. If you think this is a simple calculation, and it's actually simple for you, well, you are quite strong. This is not a simple calculation at all. Guys, if you and me were able to always perform correct 3-4 moves calculation, we would be grandmasters. I don't think you understand how difficult it is to calculate correctly, consistently, 3-4 moves. Oh, it's easy. You will be a grandmaster, dude. You don't understand. You don't understand. This is a miracle that I calculated this correctly. You don't understand how hard it is. And if you do, well, then let's appreciate this. So, okay, here I took. And again, if they take with the queen, take, it seems like simplifying into an endgame. No, whoop, and they lose the game. They defend, we hit it. So they took with the knight. The problem is, now there is this tactic. You know what's super crazy? This is unreal. This is unreal. The best move according to the engine is d4. And I considered it. And I considered it because there are some tactical / strategical reasons. Unreal. How can I even consider d4? However, I played immediately bishop takes because I got horny. Okay, I got horny. So I just took. It's +2.8. It's winning. It's fine. And here my opponent played king to f8, which is best. Now, if they take, collapse. Rook takes. Double attack, it's over. Queen d8, let's say, to keep the knight touched. And here, and it's crazy because I also considered this move. What is wrong with me? Rather than taking, which is probably would have played during the game, which is +4, I also consider the best move, which is rook e1. And this is like, everything's under attack. I'm just not sure what happened after this. Okay, knight c4, yeah, and this guy falls. Okay. In my calculation, I didn't saw knight c4, but I settled in this position on rook takes. That was my calculation in the eventuality of pawn takes. But my opponent moved the king. Now here the best move is bishop f3, which is complicated, okay. I played instead bishop d5. It's fine. I'm attacking this guy, I'm attacking the queen. My opponent plays queen d6. And in this position, I played so well. Sorry guys, please don't take this. Guys, I showed you in the past games that I lost terribly. I showed you meltdowns, you know this. There are records on this channel of me literally melting down after losing some online games. So I show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay, let's be very honest here. I showed like the worst things. But if you play well, you should recognize it, you know, and don't take this as, you know, oh, he plays well, I don't do this. Look at my progression on this channel and in my chess life. I'm working hard and I'm seeing improvements. Take this as an inspiration. Work hard, work constantly, according to your schedule. I have a full-time job now, so no excuses, okay? You can always flick in a little bit of chess if you're serious and you love it. It's fine. Just work consistently, you'll see progress. Even yesterday when I lost against the FIDE Master, I managed to bring the FIDE Master in a losing position at some point, which is something that I managed to done in my life only once in the past. And it was in a situation where my opponent really had to win because it was a team competition, otherwise maybe wouldn't even have lost. So for the first time, one-on-one in a tournament, I brought a FIDE Master into a losing position, even though I couldn't convert. But it's still a massive improvement. Focus on the improvements, focus on the daily. This is inspiration. And I'm gonna keep glorifying my moves in this game. I don't care. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's grow all together. Come on. So, let's go. So here, I wanted to take in the beginning. And I was super happy because I'm like, I take, and if they take here, I just ignore them. I go here, and I was calculating all this sort of line. I go here. Oh, but then they check me, and then I move the king, and then they check me, and then after some complex calculations, I realize, wait, I can't defend. But here I realize something. If I take, which the position is crazy, so it can be still winning, it's still better for white, but it's plus 1.7 plus 2 instead of plus 3.5. And here, correctly, I realized, wait, they don't have to take here. They can first flick in this move. And I have to move, and then they may or may not take here. The engine is not recommending this, so, you know, let the engine be the engine. But that's how it's that. The position gets dirty. But then I realized, and I didn't saw it in the beginning, I realized that I could just take this. Because, you have to follow it in a flow, and I wasn't in the flow. I managed to go back in the flow. Because I was looking at, like, frames in a video, you know? It's like, I go here, I'm attacking the queen, I'm attacking here. If the queen lives here or here, it's a problem, right? But the queen, by moving on d6, also lives here. The queen was really overwhelmed. And so the best move is bishop takes b7. And I played it. I managed to be objective, to distance myself from the position. So many good things I did in this game. And I didn't even notice during the game. Like, I'm realizing now how great I played. And again, there are some people that get triggered when somebody glorifies their own work. Please take it as an inspiration. Okay? Don't think, oh, I'll never play good or something. No, absolutely. Work consistently. I guarantee you'll have your great games. And you lose. I have no doubt I'll keep losing a bunch of games this tournament. But guess what? I already saw the improvement. That's what mattered to me. The tournament could end here. I would be happy. Okay? Amazing. I don't care if I lose all the other games. I saw improvement. That's it. Okay. And now you see all of a sudden the position collapses because there are two important things here. This c6 square is crucial. And after taking the pawn, not only am I attacking the rook, I'm also going to infiltrate. And it's just over. This is over. So bishop b7 is the main move. Bishop b7. And now my opponent plays rook b8. Turns out rook d8 is best. But rook b8 doesn't really change the evaluation. It's plus 4 now, so it's over. Plus 3.8, it's over. Rook c6, of course, and this wins. Now my opponent played queen d4, which is a very tricky move, because they're basically saying, you know, if you take here, we take here. Now, here I thought a long time, and here perhaps I made a mistake. I wanted to play queen takes b6, because of course now this move is ridiculous, because I just take your queen. And after queen takes, here, it's fine. However, after queen takes, I don't know what happened. Perhaps I started to see some ghosts. I don't really know what happened. But I instead played rook takes, which is still +4. But you know, it's fine. No, okay, it's fine. Okay, it's irrelevant. But in my mind it was. Okay. And here the point is, after bishop takes g3, which my opponent played, of course this is pinned, and now they're threatening the pawn on f2, they're threatening mate in 2, funnily enough. Never let your guard down, obviously. You know, it may sound obvious, but hey, keep it in mind. It's always good to train the right muscle connections, you know, brain muscle connections, or whatever you call it. So move 24. Here my idea was very simple. My idea was queen b4. Forcing the trade, I'm up a piece, let's go on. Is +4, so it's a correct decision. Simplifying into a winning ending is a correct decision, absolutely. So queen takes, rook takes, and here my opponent kept playing. So again, real chess over the board is also different from blitz. Because in blitz you can throw this position from the white side, but if you win it, you can also win it relatively easily. Over the board, your opponent is going to focus very well, very difficultly, and is going to try all the tricks in the books, all geometry with the pawns, every single half of a pass pawn that they have. And if they don't want to resign, you'll have to prove that your position is winning. Yes, it's +4, very nice, but you have to win it. You have to bring it home. You have to do it. And it's not easy to do, especially after you are tired, because there is real life. You know, real life is a real thing. It exists somewhere in the universe. So bishop d6, attacking the rook. If I fall asleep at the wheel, again, this guy falls. And all of a sudden is anybody's game. Rook b3, keeping it safe. Now my rook is safe, so I can move this bishop. Even though my idea is just to check here and trade even one more pair of pieces. If they took here, I wanted to take with a pawn, of course. And even here, you take here to keep your structure intact. Rook takes b7, and is now equal. I mean, over the board, you're not supposed to make a mistake like this, but again, chess is so hard. Because it's pattern recognition, and if you please ignore everything outside of these two arrows, meaning only focus on this side of the board, your pattern recognition here tells you to take like this. But of course we are in now focus on this. Now focus on this, please. Of course you have to take like this. But it's difficult. Your brain is fighting this small portion with the whole picture. It is hard. It is hard. But this didn't happen. My opponent didn't take. Of course you don't take when you're down material. My opponent played correctly, given the circumstances, of course. So rook b3, g4. Here he goes. And here I consider playing h4. I consider many things, but in the end I'm like, no, let's take here. And here f takes g4 is the best move, because, you know, the engine is like, let's go, but my opponent took here. Humanly speaking, it makes some sense, because now they have the passed pawn, they have some potential of attack, you know, if I'm not careful. And if your opponent is +4, you have to play on the they are not careful card. You don't have that many other cards, let's be real. So what my opponent is doing is very practical. So rook takes g4, king f8, and here bishop g2 is best. Not super easy, quite frankly, to self-pin, but you are attacking the rook at the same time, it's fair. I play king f8. It's fine, the evaluation doesn't change. If I see the evaluation changing from like +4.6, which is right now, I'm gonna tell you, if it really changes considerably. There are also normal fluctuations, because this engine is not necessarily the strongest in the world, so I have to account for that as well. So move 29, king f8, and now king e7. And here +5, the best move, absolutely best move is rook c4. Fair, very, very fair. Rerouting the knight into society. Of course, they cannot allow themselves another trade. But you know, you're afraid of these things and stuff like this. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So for example, knight c4, rook here, if you take, there is this check, but you just play king e2. Unfazed. Engine unfazed. Bishop here, trying to do something here. Knight e5. This is hit, this is hit. It's over. It's over. There's nothing. But I had my idea. So I decided to go and trade rooks. He's still +5, so it's fine. It's just a decision. It's just a decision. I have quite a little bit of time. I had like 25 minutes to play 10 moves to reach time control, and this position is not one of those positions that you have to calculate at some point for like 50 moves. At least that's what I thought. It turns out it was true, but you know. Okay, rook f4 here by my opponent. I just took. And here I took again. Sometimes you just have to grab those pawns. And I'm going to be honest with you, I completely missed bishop a7. But thankfully, I realized I have this. But I missed it. I completely missed it. Bishop here that attacks here is actually quite nasty. He's still probably winning even without rook d7, but I have to notice it. I missed that. Okay, but it does nothing, so it's fine, but still. So, okay, so bishop takes a6 on move 32. And now bishop to e5. Bishop to e5 is a nasty move, because they want to go here and attack here. And if you allow them to start to have 3 pawns, it can be annoying, you know, it can be annoying. Still winning, probably, technically, but still. But here I noticed that they have this weakness, so I wanted to go here, and just attack them. But still, I would have allowed bishop d4. So yes, I flick in a check, because why not? 33, rook b7. But after king to f6, I played the knight to c2 to prevent this move. And also, my knight starts to go back to the game, because yes, I'm up a piece, but if I don't use it, you know what I mean? And my opponent started to push h5, fair. Yeah, of course the engine wants you to keep checking, but okay. Knight e3. And here they can pretty much do whatever they want. Well, they have to be careful. Here I have a threat, so they can just push mindlessly. 35, rook a4. I saw this move. This one I saw from the distance. It's a fork, but I have bishop c4. Bishop c4 defends this, attacks this, and closes the connection of the rook, and also saves the bishop. So bishop c4 is of course the best move. Yeah, of course. So bishop c4, and now f4. Again, you have to win, dude. You have to win, bro. You have to win. You know, my opponent is asking questions. Knight to g2. Knight to g2. If they push, it's pretty hard to keep this pawn alive. So they didn't push. King g5. Best move. On move 37. Finally, rook takes f7. Because now... well, I have some ideas of perhaps winning this pawn, perhaps doing something. Rook b4 attacks this guy. I just play b3. And now rook to b6. Trying to bring the rook behind the pawn. And here I played knight e1. Knight e1, by the way, best move, plus 6.9 of evaluation. The point is, why knight e1? The truth is, the knight wants to be rerouted, yes, but also you need this knight out of the way to allow your king to enter the game. So knight e1, best move, very nice. On move 40. So now I had 11 minutes, now I have 41 minutes, basically. So now it's not that difficult. King g4. King to g2. And here I was calculating this, and at first I was a little bit afraid because, you know, the king is gonna move, and then this is check, but then I realized knight f3, the king has no squares. And on h4, I was planning to do... Oh, no, sorry. This comes with tempo. I saw this. Sorry, I'm a little bit tired. Knight f3, if h4, there's just the fork. Yeah, it wins. It wins overwhelmingly. So they didn't play that. They played rook to h6, because I'm also threatening this, you know, and the pawn goes nowhere. So rook to h6. Rook to h6. Yep, I think. On move 42. Sorry, king g2. Oh no, they first play bishop c3. Yes, they first play bishop c3. Then I play knight f3. And this king has no moves. It would be very nice if a bishop checked the king, huh? Rook h6. If h4, rook h7, h3, rook takes h3. Is the best line according to the engine because black's position is terrible, but, you know. Rook h6, of course, humanly speaking, more reasonable. And now I play bishop b5. A very nice touch. A very nice touch. This is the practical move. Now the bishop goes here, with checkmate if they do nothing. Force move h4, and now bishop d7, and now it's over. Only move. And here, I can take immediately, but then they have this. So to really avoid any counterplay, I first check them. If they go here, this is checkmate. Very nice. If they go here, which is what they did, rook takes f4. And now they don't have the check. Look at this rook, completely paralyzed. And in this position on move 46, finally my opponent resigned the game. I'm very pleasantly impressed with this game. I really like it. Now I'm gonna delete the variations I made, and I'm going to run an analysis because I want to have the correct analysis of the engine. You know, the Lichess analysis. It's nothing crazy, but I want to see. I want to see what the engine analysis says. Yeah, delete 24 moves is a variation. Is the variation of the Solon's line that I showed you in the beginning. Okay, let me reload the page. You're gonna see weird things. Don't worry about it. Yeah, you see the old page a little bit fucked. It's fine. Now let's go. Let's run the analysis and let's see. I know you see a little bit weirdly, but don't worry too much about it. Very proud of this game. Of course, there's going to be mistakes, inaccuracies, especially in the beginning. It's not a perfect game, not even close. That is nonetheless a nice game. %93 accuracy, 1 inaccuracy, 1 mistake. Very nicely done, very nicely executed. So this is all, well, let me do this. Sorry. Do you see correctly? Yes. So this is all correct. Here rook c1 starts to go a little bit in the wrong direction. But it was a very complicated position. Here g5 is a blunder. Knight takes e3 would have been better, but it seems like white is doing fantastic here, but is not. Very, very complex. g5 now is wrong, and I found those two very precise moves. And here this is a mistake. If I play f takes e6, I fail to evaluate the resulting position correctly. I play rook c2, which keeps an advantage, and I never let it go. Well, I actually did 2 moves later, so... Yeah, rook c1 is incorrect. Bishop c3 is a little bit more accurate. This is the line, if you're interested, preventing rook to e8, which is something that I also consider, but... a4, the queen goes back, you close it, now you take it, because why not? Things get messy. But rook a to c1, they have to find rook g6 though. They have to find rook g6. Without rook g6 is over, bishop e5, and now I just take it and it's winning. It's just winning. And I never let go from there. Clean game. Clean game. Not perfect, but, you know, not a grandmaster. Clean game. So that's round 3. The more rounds passes, the more I'm gonna be tired, and it's gonna be quite brutal. So having said that, guys, I really appreciate the support. There are some people that write very nice comments. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I want these videos to be motivational, you know. Yesterday I lost, today I win, but both games I saw improvements. Work on your chess, guys, consistently. I guarantee you see improvements. Okay, guarantee you. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your chess.